4 a.m., April 28, 1908. La Porte, Indiana. Farmhand Joe Maxon woke to smoke, filling his bedroom. He called out to his employer, to her 3 children. No answer. He leaped from the second-story window and ran for help. By the time the fire brigade arrived, the farmhouse was nothing but ash and ember. In the basement, they found 4 bodies, 3 children, and a woman. The woman had no head, but the real horror hadn't started yet, because when investigators began digging in the hog pen, they stopped counting after 11. Welcome to the Creepy History Files. Today we open the file on Belle Gunness, and be warned, in this story the pigs were fed extremely well. Born Brynhild Paulsdatter Sturseth in the biting cold of rural Norway, 1859, the woman who would become Belle Gunness came to America in 1881 carrying nothing but ambition and an understanding of how the world worked. She settled in Chicago, married a man named Mads Sørensen, and opened a candy store. Within a year, that store burned down. Insurance paid out. Their home burned down a few years later. Insurance paid out again. 2 foster children in her care died from what doctors called acute colitis. Both were insured. Then on July 30th, 1900, her husband Mads died suddenly. It was the only day his 2 life insurance policies overlapped. A doctor suspected strychnine poisoning. No charges were filed. Belle collected $8,500, the equivalent of nearly $250,000 today. She used that money to buy a 48-acre pig farm just outside La Porte, Indiana. A fresh start, she told people. A place to raise her children in peace. She remarried quickly. A Norwegian butcher named Peter Gunness, a widower with 2 young daughters. 1 week after the wedding, his infant daughter died of a mystery ailment while alone with Belle. 8 months later, Peter himself was dead. Belle told the coroner a sausage grinder fell from a high shelf and crushed his skull. The coroner examined the wound. He allegedly muttered, "This is a case of murder." But nothing was done. Belle collected another $4,000, and her adopted daughter Jenny told classmates something they would remember for years. "My mama killed my papa." Personal, comely widow who owns a large farm in one of the finest districts in La Porte County, Indiana, desires to make the acquaintance of a gentleman equally well provided, with view of joining fortunes. No replies by letter considered unless sender is willing to follow answer with personal visit. Belle Gunness had found her business model. She placed advertisements in Norwegian language newspapers across the Midwest, targeting immigrant bachelors, men far from family, desperate for connection, sitting alone on farms with their life savings and no one to miss them. They came by train. They brought cash, Belle insisted on it, and they vanished. My heart beats in wild rapture for you, my Andrew. I love you. Come prepared to stay forever. She wrote that to Andrew Helgelian, a bachelor farmer from South Dakota. He arrived in January 1908, withdrew nearly $3,000 from the La Porte Bank, Belle at his side, ensuring he took it all in cash. He was never seen again. The files go deeper than most dare to look. Subscribe to follow. Belle Gunness stood 5'8", weighed over 200 pounds. Neighbors said she could lift a 300-pound piano by herself. She carried heavy trunks like boxes of marshmallows. And she had learned butchering from her second husband. According to later confessions, her method was this. She cooked her suitors a large meal, drugged their coffee. When they slumped into stupor, she split their skulls with a meat cleaver. She carried the bodies to her basement, placed them on a table, dissected them with the precision of a butcher breaking down a hog. She buried the remains in the hog pen, or when she was tired, she simply fed them to the pigs. A carpenter who did repairs on the farm noticed something strange. More than a dozen trunks in her house, all belonging to different men. Neighbors noticed men arriving at the farm and never leaving. Belle explained they were cousins from various places. They always seemed to leave in the night. Neighbors also noticed Belle digging in the hog pen, always at night, always alone. Helgelien wanted to know what happened to his brother Andrew. He wrote to Belle. She claimed Andrew had left for Norway, but Aksel kept writing, kept asking questions, threatened to come to Porte himself and investigate. 2 days before the fire, Belle appeared at the local courthouse. She told the sheriff that her former farmhand, Ray Lamphere, had threatened to burn down her house. She wanted it on record. Then at 4 a.m. on April 28th, the house burned. 4 bodies in the basement. The headless woman was dressed in Belle's clothes. Her false teeth lay beside the corpse. Case closed, except for one problem. The body was 5 inches shorter than Belle, 50 pounds lighter. And then Aksel Helgelien arrived. He noticed soft depressions in the soil of the hog pen. Filled in holes, he demanded they dig. The first body they found was Andrew. The second was Jenny Olsen, the adopted daughter Belle claimed was at school in California. They kept digging, 11 bodies in 2 days. Then they stopped counting. 15,000 people descended on Porte to watch. The railroad ran excursion trains from Chicago. Vendors sold souvenirs. Children skipped school to bicycle to the farm. America had discovered its female Bluebeard. Ray Lamphere, the fired farmhand, was tried for murder and arson. His defense argued he couldn't have murdered Belle because Belle wasn't dead. The headless corpse was just another victim. The jury compromised. Guilty of arson, not guilty of murder. He died of tuberculosis in prison on December 30th, 1909. But before he died, he confessed to a minister. He said Belle had killed 42 men. He said she escaped the fire alive, lured a woman from Chicago as a body double, drugged her, bashed in her head, removed it, and dressed the corpse in her own clothes. He said she accumulated over $250,000 through murder, equivalent to $6 million today, and he said she walked away into the night and vanished. In 1931, a woman named Esther Carlson was arrested in Los Angeles for poisoning a Norwegian-American man for his money. She bore a striking resemblance to Belle Gunness. She possessed photographs of 3 children who looked exactly like Belle's. She died before trial. In 2008, investigators exhumed what they believed were Belle's remains and tested the DNA. The results were inconclusive. The farm is gone now, subdivided into residential lots. Families live where the hog pen used to be, but children in Porte still grow up hearing stories about murder farm at the end of McClung Road. 14 confirmed victims, possibly 42, perhaps more. She promised them love. She delivered something else entirely. And the question remains, did Belle Gunness die in that fire, or did she simply become someone else? The next case is already waiting, and trust me, this one runs deeper. Subscribe before the seal breaks. See you in the dark.